Welcome to the second day. Marvellous lineup for you today. Star-studded cast, but I'm sure we'll educate and thrill you during the course of the day. We're going to start this morning with Joel Cheesman. Many of you will be familiar with his work. He's very much a new kid on the block in terms of online recruitment and commentary, and he has a fascinating perspective. Over to you, John.
Thank you, David. Thank you for giving me the hungover morning crowd. I appreciate it. I want to start my session with a public service announcement. This presentation is being given on a Dell computer, so if this thing sets on fire, we got exits on the right over here, and we got one in the back, just so you know. Bloggers' view of online recruitment and beyond. Everyone's glad they got out of bed for that. I think it's interesting that a blogger can get FaceTime at a conference like this. I don't have a PhD, I don't have an English accent, I don't have Peter Weddle's Hollywood kind of mystique or John Sumser's good looks. But I think it's important to note that I'm in control. And what I mean by that is not me specifically, but the individual is in control. Technologies, ideas, funds that used to be pretty exclusive to big corporations are now in the hands of the individual, people like me. Someone like me can sit at a laptop in their bed and write things that go out to the entire world. And that's pretty effective. Pretty powerful, and that's going to be kind of the theme of the PowerPoint. Hopefully, it'll spur some ideas and get some thinking, because that's typically what I like to try to do. I'm going to start with a story about a squirrel. That's all what you want to hear. My wife loves animals. Loves animals. She doesn't like people most of the time. And she certainly doesn't like me most of the time. But she loves animals. And I've given her the okay to have 2 cats, and we have 2 cats. And that's about all we have right now. But we have a whole backyard of woodland creatures, squirrels, skunks, chipmunks, you name it, that she is kind of her extended pet family. Well, she wanted to get these squirrels and some of the animals in to eat some food. So we put out some nuts at our screen door. And we have 2 cats, and the cats are really interested about what's going on behind the screen door. They want to know what animals are going to come up. So they see the squirrels see the nuts. There's a real fear factor there because, well, there's glass there, but I don't know exactly what that is. What if these cats come out, I die, I'm eaten, and have this horrible death? Well, there's one squirrel, and believe it or not, my wife actually named this squirrel. The squirrel's name was Rocky. And she actually created a website dedicated to Rocky. I know it's a little bit weird, but this is my wife, and I'm a little bit weird too, so maybe we're a good match. But Rocky the squirrel had the guts, or the nuts, if you will, to take a risk, to stare those cats in the eyes, to walk up to that screen door and get those nuts. And nothing happened. He was okay. He took a risk, and it wasn't the end of the world. Well, all the other squirrels saw that Rocky was the man. They all started to get the nuts as well. And now we have this, basically a woodland zoo in our backyard because all these animals know it's not going to get hurt, and they get free food, and it's all great for them. Why do I tell this story? I tell this story because risk is good. Stare risk in the eye and take a chance. We're not talking about war here. We're not talking about life and death. We're talking about business. We're talking about the internet. We're talking about employment. So many companies get in such a rut of what they do. They go 9 to 5, and I do my job, and I go home. Try to think outside the box now and then, because it's going to be important in the survival of your business. I want to talk a little bit about information overload. According to this, whatever survey you look at, the human mind is bombarded with anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 advertising messages every day. So you may have the best site in Canada. You may be McDonald's and have a damn good hamburger, by the way. But no one really cares. People care about their jobs, they care about their families, they care about who's getting voted off Survivor today. They don't really care about you. So what are you going to do as a business to cut through the clutter and connect with somebody? Another thing that is pretty overwhelming is the internet. The clutter couldn't get any worse. You've got, well, Google started or stopped publicizing the number of pages that they indexed at about 8 billion. So if it's 12 or 15 billion, it's a lot of information to go through. One of the things that is intriguing as well in the information overload, what I'm going to get to today. Who owns this album? Liars! Somebody owns it. Did you buy it on the first day?
I don't believe so. It's my kids.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
March of 2000, this album came out. It sold 1 million copies in its first day. It sold 2.3 million copies in its first 2 weeks. It became the biggest selling success story in record history. Record companies loved it. Things are good. We know the formula. Pretty boys in their teens. Girls will buy it. It's a working formula. What they didn't recognize, or maybe they did, there was something called Napster going on. It started around 1998. And Napster, as you probably all know, empowered people to share music with each other. It wasn't, I'm going to listen to what the radio station tells me to listen to. It wasn't, I'm going to listen to what the record industry tells me to listen to. What are my friends listening to? What do I want to listen to? And you have something that is popular in the lexicon of business, the long tail. Small is the new big. I suggest you read this book. There's a book and a blog. I suggest that you either RSS feed it, buy the book if you're interested. But the book basically details how the music industry became an infinite tail of data. If you have a record store on the corner in downtown Chicago, there's a limited number of shelf space to have a limited number of albums or content. The internet threw that out the door. You have an unlimited amount of information and data. You have an unlimited amount of songs. And you have something like Myspace that says, come to our site, you're a band, upload your music. Give it to the world. The long tail also has a lot to do with the job market, online sites. I was talking to John Sumser the other day, and he said, I got press releases from 30 new job sites. And I think as the tail gets longer and people see more opportunity in specific niches, you're going to see more and more of that. Now, if you're an employer, how do you make sense of all that? It's not going to be easy. But there's something that came along in 1998 that has done a lot to kind of help people cut through the clutter and get to the things in the long tail that they want to get to. And Google is an incredible tool. Search in general is incredible technology that enables people, gives people the power to find what they want, when they want it, in a way that they want to get it. And I go back to the inmates who are running the asylum. The consumer is in control, and Google helps them obtain that control. So I'm a huge fan of Google. If you read my blog, know my company, I think it's an incredible tool to access information as well as marketing. If you ask any of these online job sites in the room, if they're telling you the truth or if they have a good marketing person, search is going to be the #1 way that they drive unique traffic. Search is very important for the long tail sites. Monster may have money to run Super Bowl ads, but the local site here in Chicago doesn't have those kind of resources. They're utilizing search to get eyeballs. They want to know that when someone is unhappy at their job and they type in Chicago sales jobs, that their site is there. And what's great about Google is that it's intent-based advertising. Oh crap, I ripped my jeans, I need jeans. I'm going to go to Google and find out where I can get some jeans. I may be loyal to Gap or J. Crew or some other site, but if I'm looking for jobs, am I really loyal to a particular brand? Monster career-building sites don't have the kind of emotional attachment that Apple Computers, Starbucks, and Google have with people. So Google and search is, in my opinion, the number one way that job seekers find information when they're looking for a job. So if you're McDonald's and you need burger flippers or management or chefs or whatever, it'd probably be nice to be on Google's page 1 when people are searching for those particular terms.
That's what TMP tells me.
TMP tells you? Have you bought into it?
We're looking at it.
You're looking at it, okay. We'll do pay-per-click advertising. Just between you and me.
Okay.
$5 to start up, 5 cents a click, test it, see what happens. You can't really lose. We're on vertical search, and the presentations yesterday had a pretty common theme, a lot of charts and graphs, French accents. I'm a blogger, so I'm kind of going to be all over the map. Some topics that I think are hot, I have an opinion on, or whatever. And one of the obviously hot topics, currently is vertical search. If you don't know what vertical search is, there are sites. Well, the basic definition of it is it's taking a broad thing like web search and breaking it down into particular channels. So it could be jobs or travel. Any kind of particular subset could be shopping or news or images. But jobs is kind of what I'm going to talk about. And you have some players that really became shooting stars. In 2004, 2005, you had Indeed that was hired, Jobster. And what I really like about the verticals is that they're consumer focused. It's don't worry about going to every single job site under the planet. Come to one central place and get all your job content from the job boards in one place. They're very kind of search centric, not a lot of pop-up ads, not a lot of spam you have to go through. Another thing that's really great is that they integrate their tools to help get in front of the passive job seeker. So if you look at Indeed, he does a really good job of integrating their technology with Google Talk, Google Desktop Search, RSS feeds. You don't have to visit the sites every day to get the job content. So if I have a job, I want to get RSS feeds of new jobs in Chicago that are marketing related or sales related, I can do that with vertical search pretty easily. Another thing that's really, really cool, and this goes back to the inmates running the asylum, is that there's something called API. Those of you don't know that, it's not a big deal. But what it basically means is I can take the technology of a company and plug it into my own site. So I could theoretically start a Chicago job site, plug in Indeed's API, or Google, if that's Google-based, which we'll talk about a little bit, and have more jobs than the local newspaper, any local job site here, up and running. So when you look at power into the individual's hands, vertical search kind of feeds that. And Google-based, which if you don't know is a free service that allows you to upload your jobs into Google, just launched an API. And what gets cool about Google is you can start mashing up technologies. So you've got Google mapping search with job content. So who's going to mash up the job content with where they are in your local location? Who's going to take photos of companies? And I mean, the things that are going to happen are going to be pretty mind-blowing, but that's what you're going to be looking at. This is my slide about Monster. And in honor of all the spam that they give their job seekers, I kind of spammed out the word Monster. And if you go to Monster and you look at a job search, or do a job search, you're going to go through hurdles of, University of Phoenix, eFax, all this stuff. I mean, imagine if you went to Google, and before you could get your search results, you had to look at a splash page of an advertisement. Would you be really happy about it? So why does Monster do it? One of the reasons I'm so down on Monster is because I don't think that they are friendly to their users. I think they're friendly to their stockholders. I think they're friendly to their bottom line. But I don't think they make decisions based on what their consumers are wanting or things are in the best interest of their consumers. It's really funny when I was searching, if you look at the top corner, you'll see a banner ad for MGD. I'm not sure what the target is for a beer ad on Monster. Maybe Maybe you're jobless, homeless, and bankrupt, so have a beer. MySpace. There's no doubting what MySpace has done. I mean, level of growth in the last quarter has been 3 times what Google's has been. Huge site, very, it's just a juggernaut. It's been really amazing what they've been able to do in a 2-year span. And I really want to love MySpace. You know, I want to dress up and take it to dinner and have a good time, but there are just so many things about it that have happened that just, you know, make me think twice. Number one that happened is, you know, the suits moved in. So you got Fox Interactive, a huge company, comes in and buys the site. So you got banner advertising. Their terms of service and what really built MySpace was the bands. I'm an independent band, I can put my music online, free, people can access it, I can be rich and famous and get all the groupies. Now the terms of service says, if you put a tune on MySpace, any content that's on our site, we own it. So you're a new band, up and coming, you become the next Nirvana, Led Zeppelin, or whatever Chris listens to. MySpace can sell that song to Ford Motors and make a ton of money off of it. Now, if you're an artist, is that something that you want to do? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Another thing with MySpace is that it's hitting critical mass. When you hit critical mass and success, the evil doers come out, to quote Mr. Bush. Spammers are, you know, wet the mouth, rolling their hands. How can we use MySpace to generate traffic? And you're going to see an incredible amount of spam, and it already is there, coming out of MySpace. And when you get spam, you get a lot of issues of, well, this site sucks now, or this is just all spam. So I think MySpace is a real interesting quandary of what to do about all this. But probably the most important thing that they're dealing with is the cool factor. I live in Ohio, and there's a hot governor's race there. And one of the candidates, 50-something guy, has a MySpace page. Now, he probably doesn't even know he has a MySpace page or know what MySpace is, right? But how uncool is a governor candidate with a MySpace page? I mean, how long is it before a 12-year-old says, I'm going to go somewhere else? It's a lot more radical and cooler than MySpace. I could be wrong, but I think time will tell. But if you're gonna agree that MySpace exists, that it's a powerful force, a lot of people go to it, you might as well look at marketing opportunities. This is something that Honda did. If you've seen the Honda commercial with the crab, and he says, I teach, that's probably a bad accent, but if you see in the commercial, what they did is they said, we're going to unemploy the crab, we're going to fire him. And the campaign that we're going to have, a viral campaign, is vote to get the crab his job back. So the crab has a MySpace page, you put your name and state in the petition, and you get a rolling tally of how many people have voted to get the crab his job back. So as you're looking at hiring particularly young people, how do you leverage MySpace to get people talking, to be remarkable, to get bloggers like me talking about what you're doing, to be outside the box, to use a overused cliche. Just a word on Jobster. One thing is that they just redesigned their site, and when I looked at their image, their whole redesign thing, I thought, man, that looks really familiar. And then I thought, Reservoir Dogs. It looks just like the Reservoir Dogs posted. Jobster, if you're not aware, there are a lot of different things depending on the month that you're talking to them. I mean, they're either a vertical search, they're a referral system, they're a social network. But I think what's interesting is when they launched their social network, they were really hyped about the traffic, really hyped about the opportunity. And I wasn't really sure, people go to communities to gossip, to communicate with people, to have fun, to be rambunctious, to be someone that they're not, legal purposes or something that will get you arrested on Dateline. But in the job space, I'm just not sure if community of job seekers is something that is going to succeed. I don't know if that has the fun factor or the fact that it's going to bring people back. So Jobster, when they launched it there in between July and August, traffic really spiked, and they were really excited about what they were doing. And after the initial spike and the excitement, traffic has really kind of gone back to normal. So, I mean, time will tell on that, but are social networks transferable to the job space? I don't think anyone's done that, and I'm not sure that Josh is on the right foot to get it done. Simply Hired, one of the things that the verticals have a problem with is revenue generation, okay? So we go to all these job sites, company sites, et cetera, we scrape all this content, which is great, and Google and other search engines have figured out if you have good content, good search results, you can provide advertising and make a pretty good buck. And I think everyone would agree that Google's in pretty good shape financially. One of the things that they did was they said, post your resume on Simply Hired, and we'll broadcast it. Monster, I mean, they weren't real open to all the sites that you were going to, but essentially we're going to shotgun your resume to everybody. And I kind of laughed because it sounded so 1999 to me. Resume Rabbit, Resume Zapper, I mean, it just seemed like such an archaic idea. I couldn't believe they did it. But the thing that really shocked me is, you know, verticals are like, you know, the big general sites. You know, it's the same pig with just different makeup. In other words, let's just get as many active job seekers as possible, get them into the system, make money off of them, broadcast information, you know, to as many places as possible. So I guess my point is, active job seekers on Simply Hired are the same active job seekers on Monster that are the same active job seekers on Career Builder. I think the key that you as an employer or a job site need to really focus on is, how do I get to the passive job seeker? How do I get to the person that's happily employed? What is the content that they're going to be interested in, and how do I do that? Blogs. This is a whole session unto itself, so I'll try to condense it a little bit. There are about 2 blogs created every second in the world. Most of them are crap, talking about their, you know, their Friday night, their new boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever. A lot of blogs out there are important. They matter. I mean, I would argue that the fact that I'm here today is proof that blogs matter. Voices matter, talent matters, personalities matter. And personalities get brought out in blogs. And one of the problems I'm sure companies have is putting a face to your company. I mean, how cold and corporate is a job listing with text? You know, we're hiring this, that, here's the shift, apply to this job. What if you as a company put up blogs that gave faces to your organization, that gave personalities to a user to say, who is McDonald's? Who is Reebok? Who is Workopolis? Who are these organizations? And if you provide good content, I'll give you an example. If the VP of marketing at McDonald's started a blog, do you think a lot of marketing people would see what the head guy at McDonald's has to say about marketing? I would, if I had a job or not. So, does it make sense to do something like that? Absolutely. And as a retention tool, if McDonald's has enough faith to say, VP of marketing, we want you to be the voice of McDonald's marketing. We trust you with that goal, with that assignment. Do you think they're going to be more appreciative of you as a company that you've trusted me to be the voice of a huge corporation like that? Do you think that I might leave, or the chance of me leaving might be a little less if I had that kind of faith from my company? And if I built up a little bit of celebrity, because I am the head guy at McDonald's or any company. You know, that celebrity is kind of nice. We're all kind of ego-driven. And that's also a retention tool as well. If you're a job site and you're not blogging, shame on you. Because blogging gives you the same opportunity to provide content to people that are already employed that is valuable to them in their lives. If you're in Chicago, be Chicago-centric. What's going on? I mean, look at bloggers who are famous in the area. Hire them to blog for you. They already have a loyal audience that loves what they do. They're going to come to your site on a regular basis and look at what this personality or this person has to write. And they're going to come back. They're going to share an experience and tell others, you need to check out this blog. It's important. The other reason for job sites to do this is search traffic. If you're providing content that isn't necessarily job related, people are going to do searches on non-job related content can find your blog. So you may be blogging about, your local area, marketing, if you're marketing board, nursing, whatever it is. If people are doing searches on terms that aren't necessarily job related, they may find your blog, which happens to have jobs on it. So they're a passive job seeker looking for non-job related information, coming to your site which has jobs. Now you've got, and hopefully the content of your blog is such that they're going to come back again and again and again. .jobs. I was really high in .jobs initially, and the reason is in SEO circles, it's pretty, at least it was common understanding that Google likes trusted sites. They hate spam, they hate people that try to game the system. And when you look at .edus, you look at .govs, you look at .military and things like that, it's actually .mil, but I didn't know if all of you would get that. There was a consensus that Google looked at those domains as trusted domains because they go through some sort of an editing process. Some sort of human being says, yes, this is Ohio State University, they can have this domain. Or yes, this is this government entity, they can have this domain. .job does an incredibly good job of making sure that McDonald's.jobs, that you're McDonald's, or Apple or Macintosh is Macintosh, and Starbucks is Starbucks. So there was reason to believe that Google might trust .jobs better because of that human editing process. Now since then, Google engineer, a guy named Matt Cutts, who's really famous in SEO circles, kind of came out and said, there's really no reason that edu or .com is really any different. The difference is that most .edus and .govs have been around since 1995 or 6. They got a lot of links back into them. They're a trusted site. So that's kind of how they rank better and how they're better links for your site. That's still debated. A lot of SEOs say, Google's holding their cards. They're not going to come out and tell you that edus or .govs are more prominent. But I think what .jobs does do is they mentally get employers to a place that they realize that they are a niche job site. Peter Welch is going to talk later today, and he's going to say, there are 40,000 niche job sites, and they're growing thousands every year. He doesn't calculate direct employers. And I'm of the mindset that who's a better niche site for you than you? You know exactly what you want. You know exactly what kind of people you want. You should look at your own site as a niche job board. The second thing is that search engines love home pages. They look at a home page and they say, okay, this is the general theme of this site. For most companies, their job section is, page 2, 3, 4, 5 of a website. Very little bit of the .com is dedicated to job content. With the .jobs, you can basically create your own niche site, create a homepage dedicated to the job content that you want to be seen. All your subpages are all dedicated to job content. So you got a pretty good argument that search engine is going to look at this page and say, wow, this is about jobs, and it's sales jobs in Chicago or New York or wherever you are. And I think that .jobs helps do that. And I'm still a fan. But it's not the silver bullet that it could have been if it was a trusted domain like a .edu. A little hard to see, but I have a client who has a .jobs. And they're always looking for salespeople in Chicago and Cleveland. So we set up a .jobs for them. And honestly, we haven't done a whole lot to optimize it because I was really curious about what would happen if we just set it up. Right now, it's number one for most of our terms on MSN for Chicago sales jobs in Chicago, Cleveland sales jobs, etc. It's starting to pop up in Yahoo. You see a number 2 ranking for it in terms of Cleveland, Ohio sales jobs in Cleveland. So this is just a small example, a small test of what you can do. You may not be McDonald's, but you may be a local company that needs engineers, salespeople, whatever, on an ongoing basis. This is something that is real and that you can do fairly quickly. Push versus pull. Shally's coming up next after me, and Shally's kind of a pusher. He's a recruiter, he's a bulldog, he wants to be in front of the person whether they like it or not. And we debate on a few things, getting in front of you on your mobile phone and things like that, but the world today is about pull, in my opinion. And when was the last time you emailed somebody that you really want an email from? When was the last time you called someone that really didn't want to hear from you? The consumer is in control. You need to give them a reason to come to you. You need to pull them in instead of screaming at them, because the information overload that we just talked about, they're not listening. They don't care about you. They need a reason to come. You need to pull them in. There's a phenomenon in search that's, it's gaining some steam. It's called tagging. It's not necessarily just search, but it's the whole idea of the community can select, what sites are best, what news story should we be listening to. When you look at sites like Dig, Delicious, Yahoo even, who owns Delicious, people are trying to find ways to empower the community to tag what news stories are the most relevant, what sites are the best ones, and then combine that with their search algorithms to give you hopefully what is a better result. So when you're looking at your marketing campaigns and what are you doing, are you enabling people to tag you in terms of Delicious? Are you adding stories to Dig that people can dig you and rank your story higher? But tagging is something I think that everyone in marketing should be kind of aware of and should be following. Three-dimensional search, awesome. Video, incredibly cool. Video camera, $300-400. I'm taping myself right now. I can put it out to the world, by tonight. Do it sooner, but I'll be here at the show. Three-dimensional search is, I think, going to be very powerful. The days where an individual, a small company, a startup, can put a 10-minute video on YouTube, Google Video, Yahoo Video, and create something that is incredibly viral that people will share is an incredibly awesome marketing tool. And I think that we're probably just seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of creativity of what people are going to do with video to garner traffic and brand awareness and everything else. If you're a big corporation, buying a camera and videotaping some of your employees and asking them, why do you like working here? What do you get out of, what's the value? Why do you come to work every day? Putting that online is incredibly easy. It doesn't take, it's not 5 years ago where you had to outsource it to some videographer and then they put it online and stream it. It's incredibly easy. So if you're not putting video on your sites to some degree, I think you're really missing out on something. It's something that's going to be much, much bigger. People usually ask me, what do you think the future is? What's the crystal ball? And frankly, I'm probably a little less sure than I was a year ago. But a lot of that has to do with the people, the power of the people. I don't know what the people are going to do, but I think what they're going to do is probably going to be pretty magical, pretty amazing. I can tell you that what Google is doing in terms of marketing, knowing behavior, knowing what you like, is going to be something that we've never seen, in our existence. If you have the Google toolbar in your browser, if you, have Gmail, if you have Google Talk, Google kind of knows what you're doing. They know what sites you like. They know how long you're there. They know what sites are in your favorites. They know what blogs you're reading. Google's getting into radio. They're getting into voice over IP. I mean, the day where your cell phone logs into GoogleNet and you talk for free are probably pretty close. Now, the trade-off is you can talk for free, but Google's probably going to record or document what your content of your phone conversation is so that they can serve you relevant advertising based on what you're talking about. For an employer, you want to know if someone's calling their wife and saying, man, this job sucks, I hate my boss. I mean, all these things kind of relate to, I want my ad in front of this person. They're getting into video and TV. I mean, TV on demand, where Google knows that you and your wife are expecting a kid because all the sites you visit are campers and everything else. So they're going to serve you ads based on that. They know that you're in Boston. They know that you're having a son probably, so they're going to give you the latest little Red Sox outfit as an ad, as opposed to a little baby girl ad, or a little baby girl outfit is all coming. So when I look at the crystal ball, everything that Google's doing and search is doing is giving you search results that are unique to you. It's not I type in XYZ and I get results that you get and everyone else gets. They're going to know you pretty specifically as a person and serve you those results. So I can say pretty surely that the crystal ball of what's in the future is that Google is going to become incredibly powerful, unless they do evil and really screw themselves up. But I have a lot of faith in them. Watch this space. If you're not leveraging search to advertise in the market, you're making a huge mistake, in my opinion, and you should get on board if you're not. Lastly, I think being remarkable is kind of an underpinning of what you want to do in terms of marketing or who you are as a company. If what you're doing is boring, no one cares, you're not exciting the senses, you're not creating an emotional response in people, no one's going to talk about it. If no one's talking about you, you might as well be invisible. And this isn't, this isn't real difficult stuff to do, particularly with the tools that we have. I mean, the Honda crab with, a Myspace account and a page that says sign my petition is not difficult stuff to do. What's difficult is getting your team around how do we think about creative ways to get the word out and make people remark about us. The other thing that I do as a search guy is are you link worthy? If you know anything about Google, links from other sites to your sites are like votes for your sites. So when I do stuff, I think about, would people want to link to me? Would people want to link to this thing that I'm doing? Inevitably, that drives a lot of my conversation or a lot of my activities because I know that means I'm remarkable. Well, we started with Rocky the Squirrel, we're ending with Rocky the Fighter. By the way, has anyone seen like Rocky 9's coming out or something? Is he going to come out and beat somebody with his walker? I can't believe that there's another Rocky. But Rocky came out 30 years ago, 1976. Had an unknown cast, a small budget. You had this guy, Sylvester Stallone, who was actually doing softcore porn movies, at the time. He wrote this story. It was a great story. No one expected much out of this movie, but it was good. People talked about it. Critics liked it. It was a great story. It pulled on the emotional strings of the human conscience, the human psyche. And I think that as you as a business, as a job site or an employer, think about Rocky the Squirrel or think about Rocky the Fighter. When you look at how am I going to attract people, how am I going to build my brand, and how am I going to be more successful? Thank you.